Well, we're Carol and David, as you know. We're from The Sexy Lifestyle. We have a website and we have a podcast called The Sexy Lifestyle with Carol and David, where we talk all about how to spice up your sex life and live happy, healthy, and always horny. We got into this industry about 10 years ago, I would say, right? After we had fallen into the swinging lifestyle. So we're experts in swinging. We've been swingers for 15 years. And when we did fall into the swinging lifestyle, we decided that this is our tribe. This is where we really love to be, and that we want to somehow make a living in this industry in the future. So we worked very hard to figure out what that was going to be. And we've done so many different things. And now we have our podcast. We talk all the time about sex and sexuality, and of course, in a positive way.
And also, when we got into this world of sexuality about 15 years ago, we realized that there was a lot of people who didn't know about the world of sexuality. And as we learned a lot more about it, we decided that it would be nice to tell people about what we are learning, because when we who were in sales and marketing and traveled the world for all our careers found out about swinging and the lifestyle, we were like, how the hell could we not know about this? Being educated, world travelers, and
still we didn't know about it until we fell into it.
You brought up some incredible points that I really want to talk about, which is that we don't know about so much of what's kind of happening, because in our society and culture, in many ways, it's still taboo.
Very taboo.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think the stigma surrounding sex and sexuality is so deep rooted in our society. It goes back so far that we don't know any better. And so really it takes people who can talk about it, who can get involved and who know what they're talking about, to explain things and to bring it out into the open. I still think there's a long way to go, but we see a lot more open people now than we did even when we started 15 years ago.
And people don't get the fact that sex is healthy. It's not dirty. On our podcast, when we talk to people, we talk to doctors and educators, we talk about sex being health. You have to be happy, healthy, and horny to have a really good relationship and to have a great sex life.
I'm curious, have you two ever experimented with camming or introducing someone else in that way?
Well, we're swingers, so we're very used to having sex in front of other people. And of course, when COVID hit a few years ago and we were isolated at home, we did dabble in that. And we talk about that on our podcast as well. Because we were meeting our friends online instead of in person, because swinging wasn't able to happen. So we kind of did have a little bit of fun with some cam.
First of all, I just want to say thank you guys for opening up this conversation, for starting your podcast, because this really is the only way forward. It's like we just have to get comfortable being uncomfortable and talking about it. Right. So that we can eventually be comfortable, and it's a topic that is so crucial to our well-being and our happiness. That's why we at Live Jasmine are also trying to expand the conversation by having experts on and having people on who know both sides of it, the education and the pleasure, because that's really important if you don't have both.
Absolutely. Yes. And the thing is that even in school today, when you're teaching kids about sex, again, it's not about the pleasure part of it. It's only about the physiological part of it. And that's what's got to stop. We got to at least mention to kids that it feels good. It's okay to touch yourself as long as you're in the privacy of your own room and you're not interfering with anybody else and it's safe and healthy. So yeah, it's a place where we need to go more about the pleasure.
100%. And, you guys, you touched on something that I've heard a lot from our members on Live Jasmine, which is that their interactions with the models, a lot of times these are things that they don't feel comfortable maybe communicating to a partner or trying with a partner because they're afraid or it's considered taboo or whatever the case is. And they know that the model on Live Jasmine is going to be a safe place for them to experiment and find out about themselves. And that is one thing that they've all said, is that they found out more about themselves. Like it opened up this whole other world they didn't even know was there.
It encourages them to try more, encourages them to be more confident, and maybe even teaches that vocabulary, like I mentioned earlier. Right. We don't all know how to talk about our feelings and our pleasure and what feels good and doesn't unless we practice and try it.
Can you guys share with me from your experience how sexuality creates connection and creates bonding, and why that's important for us as humans.
Well, all humans are hardwired to be connected to others. That's what community is all about. That's what keeps us safe. And that's how we evolved to be in communities. And of course, physical touch, which is also so imperative for the human body. We have to have human touch. And so when you put those two together and you get intimacy with touching, that's how the bonds happen. So all the endorphins in your brain start coming out. And when you have that intimate touch, which is the most pleasurable, of course, which makes it you want it more. It's just a requirement. Humans need physical intimacy, touching, whether you're touching yourself with someone that you're looking at, or if someone else is touching you, we need human touch.
And in the camming world, and our friends who do it, they're doing it because they want to be connected with the person. They want to get off. They want to get their juices flowing as well as the person who they're connected with. So, yes, it's a job, but it's also has to be fun. Otherwise it gets boring and stale, like sometimes marriages do. And then you end up not wanting to do it anymore, right?
Absolutely. And actually, let's talk about that. I am so curious about, have you guys read the book? What's it called? Sex Before Dawn.
Yes. At Dawn, yes.
Sex at Dawn.
Sex at Dawn. Okay. Yeah. So he basically presents a lot of information about how we're not really naturally monogamous, but we can choose it, right?
Right.
I'm so curious and fascinated how swinging and opening up the relationship to whatever degree you have has actually maybe strengthened your bond or helped you grow as individuals.
Well, we say that we're emotionally monogamous, but we like to have sex with other people. So the non-monogamy comes in the sexual side of our relationship, and it gives us a lot of variety. And that's one of the number one reasons why swingers swing, is for the variety in it. We all like variety. We like a thrill. We like that heart palpitation.
The newness.
The newness when you meet someone new and you feel, you want to try something different. It's very exciting. The talking about it and the planning is really what connects us together.
The shopping for the sexy outfits and the clothes. And then after we've had sex with other people, the replay. Did you see that? Did you enjoy that? What would you do next time? So, you can't swing or you can't be in an open relationship if you don't have a super strong relationship and if you don't have a great sex life. So you're right. Going into this type of environment, you have to have great communication. You have to be connected. And it's something we do to make our couple stronger.
Wow, that's incredible. How long have you been swinging?
15 years.
15 years. Okay. Do you feel like it's strengthened your relationship?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it doesn't get stale, because when we feel bored or, hey, let's go online and find another couple and meet them. And, then it's just a fun. It's a hobby that we have. We're meeting other people. Like we said, that requirement for connection is so strong in humans that we need to find the next connection, and we do it through sexual activity.
And the excitement. Everywhere we go, there's always a couple of models who are into camming, who know that we're out there and open, and we end up doing some videos with them for their content on their profiles on whatever platform they're on.
Yeah.
And again, it's just something fun
it's
for
exciting
us.
For
it's
us.
exciting.
Yeah. And it's good for them. It's good to make new content, and it's exciting for them too, know?
Okay. So walk me through that experience. What is that like? Like, how does it feel?
Well, it's
very exhilarating.
Yeah, it is. We had a really nice experience at Hedonism, where it was a husband and wife couple, where she was the cam model and he was the photographer. And she asked us to join her while he was photographing. And we had some of the wildest sex.
Oh.
It was unplanned. We had no idea she was a cam model. And then it just came out in a conversation.
It's whatever is good for your couple that makes you stronger. We say more power to you.
And I have to just imagine, like, during the negotiation of deciding what's good, what's not, like, how does that go?
So the women always decide. In the swinging lifestyle, it's the ladies who control the situation. So almost always the negotiations go on between the two ladies. So, you
Men are easy.
yeah, because men, yes, men are easy. They'll have anything.
Right.
Personality is very sexy.
Mhm.
And if the couple has a great personality and you're all clicking, it'll probably work. And if, one person isn't talking and they're not into it, it's not going to work. And I'm sure it's the same thing when you girls are into camming. If you get someone on and he's not interacting or she's not interacting and doing it, what are you going to do? It's going to be over real quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's almost just, I think, in anything, even on a date, if you're trying to get to know someone and they're just like stale, it's like, okay, this isn't gonna work.
It's no thanks.
Right.
That is absolutely, I really like that the women decide.
Mhm.
Because like you said, the men are very easy, they're simple, they're probably just like, I'll enjoy this no matter what. And the women can be more sensitive with the dynamic and decide, okay, what's going to keep this fun for all of us so that there's no issues.
Our podcast is really about helping people know what they don't know. It's about learning about sex and sexuality, sexual pleasure. We've had tons of cam models on our show because the industry is so unknown. It's an industry that's so healthy and safe for not only the person doing it, but for the person watching it as
Right,
well.
right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The Kinsey Institute has actually been doing studies on Live Jasmine, and they actually found, though, that the models who are making the most money are not always even getting nude. And
Yeah.
the conversation is not always super explicit.
Right.
And these are repeat members that are coming back and spending a lot of money. And to me, that says that they're there for a different reason.
Correct.
Mhm. I would say we've met some models like that as well, who actually are never nude. They're only implied nudity or not at all. They're dressed at least in their lingerie. And
But they're all about their personality.
yeah, they've told us several times that they have fun, they talk to them, they get a connection, like really a connection, of friendship, if you want to call it, a companionship perhaps. And some guys, and it's mostly guys who are the members. I know it's all different people, but it's mostly guys. They just probably don't get that connection at home or at work, or they just haven't found another way to get that type of connection that's so close, where they can feel like being themselves, where they can really feel like they're being heard, where they can not be afraid to ask certain questions that they might
And
be
there's some
afraid of.
people who aren't comfortable going into a bar and starting up a conversation with just whoever, or let alone a nice, good-looking woman.
Yeah.
Here, they're in the comfort of their home. They do it when they want. They might be someone who works shifts. They might do it at 8 in.the morning. And there's no risk. There's no danger. They get to talk to a person.
Right.
They
It's
hear
a real
warm
person.
body
Yeah.
and a nice voice, and someone who can listen and answer their questions and just have a great conversation with them.
And they're real. Like they're in porn, they're actors. These are real people.
There's no interaction.
Yeah.
That's the word, the interaction. That is the word that a lot of the models say, a lot of the members say.
Yes, it's something that we've done as a couple. We've gone on to some of the camming sites and had a couple of the girls interact with us. We have friends who do it, and I believe it's going to become bigger and bigger in the world as people understand that there's nothing wrong with camming. It's just another form of entertainment.
Very well said. I know you mentioned that you have, as a couple, been on camming sites before, and I'm curious, Carol, what was that experience like for you?
Well, like I said, during COVID, when we were locked down and we didn't even have our friends, our swinger friends, it was all about trying new things. And so, of course, we're open-minded, as you know, and we just wanted to try something new. And, I thought it was interesting because we always want to learn as well. And since we had some friends doing it, I said that could be kind of fun. So we did it together. And yeah, it was definitely interesting.
And you get requests for things that you would never come up
Right.
with by yourself.
Yes.
Right.
Well, expanded my vocabulary just on a few things I didn't know. And then we did try a few things that we had never
Yeah.
tried before. So it actually gave some fun for us to try later as well.
Yeah.
Oh, incredible. So yeah, it sounds like the variety, you were still able to have that fulfilled.
For sure.
And then again, like you said, you tried things that you saw in there later, which again, it
Right.
kind of
Right.
creates that bond between you two.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's still a lot of stigma and judgment surrounding it, even though it's like with camming, come on, because I mean, you're never touching anyone,
Yeah.
you know? And it's like this, they say actually a lot of single moms are turning to camming because it's fixing a daycare crisis where they can't take the kids to daycare, you know? I mean, if there are any practical solutions, how do we move forward? How do we start moving away from this when it's providing so many solutions for so many people, either through them being able to afford to live in a house with their kids, or someone who's alone and who needs connection, or who just wants to, explore themselves sexually? How do we start getting away from the stigma and the taboo?
Well, we really need to. It's an absolute that has to happen. So it's really about these kind of conversations that we have, talking about it, opening up people's minds about it, because you're right, they're still thinking that it's prostitution, that people are dirty, and it's that kind of stigma that's surrounding camming today, when it's really not. People just don't get it. Actually, David got himself into trouble one time when he made a quick comment about, well, if you're short money, you can cam. And the girl was totally offended. Now, he was sincere about
She was
it.
a student.
He was sincere because, like, we believe that sex work is real work, but she was so offended that, anyways, we just kind of got ourselves out of the situation.
Mhm.
But people just don't get it. And, they just don't understand that that's a whole different way
But
of making a living, and a good living.
and what it takes, like anything else, when the gay revolution came out, it takes celebrities, it takes politicians, it takes leaders to say, I do it.
Yeah.
And it's okay. And look, I'm a normal person, and it's healthy for me, it's healthy for my family. And this notion about people camming at home for money, that it's dirty, is absolutely ridiculous.
Mhm.
Because you're doing it safe, you're doing it, for, like you said, your livelihood. And what is wrong with that? You're not hurting anyone. You're just doing a job. And like Carol says, sex work is real work.
But one of the things that is not talked about a lot is the need for it. People, well, of course, don't realize that guys have this need for it. It would not exist if there was not the demand. And so it's the huge demand is there, and therefore the opportunity is there to do it safely and honestly, and make the money. The demand is there because the guys have the need. So we should be talking about the guys' needs, and that these things fulfill a need, and then maybe that's going to help the situation.
And the cool part about camming is that the woman, the camera, the model, gets to control who she talks to, what she does.
100%. It's her schedule. It's her time. It's who she wants to talk to. It's actually one of, I've really looked at it, and it's one of the few industries where the woman actually has almost full control.
These kind of conversations is really the best way to go and get it out there. And so people don't get the healthy aspect of having a sex life, of having intimacy in your life, of having sexual pleasure. That goes towards your total overall health. And those people who are lacking it certainly can be less healthy than those people who are getting and having a very good sex life. And that's what people aren't understanding, that sex is a good thing.
It is. People have this need to have some sort of sexuality in their world, whether it be camming, whether it be swinging. We live it. The internet was born on porn, right? The porn industry financed and drove the internet. So like you said, $1 trillion industry for camming, it's probably a $2 trillion industry for porn. It's out there, people need it. Unfortunately, people don't step forward and say, hey, I like sex.
Mhm.
I do.
Mhm.
I love sex.
Mhm.
How do we become more sex positive in this society? What are some steps that we take, maybe on an individual and collective level?
Well, I've got to say that the only way to spread sex positivity is to normalize the conversation around sex. Just make it a normal part of your conversations with your friends, with your parents, with your kids. It's what we do on a daily basis. It's how we live our lives. It's the thoughts that are in our head. It's the things we watch on TV. We can comment on it. We can make a post. I had a great vacation and some wonderful sex. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be more than that.
What is just a piece of really solid relationship advice?
Okay, well, that's a good one. And I think you've already said about the communication. So I think it's really being honest with yourself and not pretending anything at all. So if you really want this, or you desire it, or he's not doing it right, you have to be honest. And even if it's uncomfortable to say what it is, you have to share your desires, your needs, your wants, and be honest with yourself and your partner.
And if you're not into something, it's okay to say no, but come up with an alternative. Don't
Right.
shut the other person down. I mean, if I got shut down for every time I came up with an idea, I mean, our relationship would be over. Take time every day to talk, and take time every day to give your partner a good kiss and a big hug.
What an incredible interview. Thank you so much. You guys are great.
Thank you for, being another voice out there getting the message out.